Welcome to What's the Buzz. Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Angelo DeCipio, joined as I am each and every week by Amelia, living La Vida Loca Chapman. How you doing, Amelia?
I'm great. How are you?
Look at me. I'm wonderful. I'm rocking the Beatles tonight. Absolutely. Look
And
at
I got
this.
the Wrestling with the Future shirt on.
That's the
Oh,
finest. Here you
I'm
go.
I'm rocking Avril Lavigne
All
and
right.
There you go.
There you go.
Blood Opera, Canada's own.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Blood Opera out
Beautiful.
of Toronto. Check them out on YouTube. Blood Opera. They're awesome guys. Now
I
go look
have
out.
a family member that owns a hotel in Ottawa, Ontario. How far are you from Ottawa?
I don't know. I'm an hour ahead in the time zone.
Oh, okay. Amelia, we have a very interesting young man on the show tonight. He really is a fascinating character. He's a very low key guy. You'd never know it to look at him, but he is very low key. They call him the Python Hyena. His name is Greg Gilbert, and he is the host of an incredible podcast. Really, it caught me by surprise how really good it is. Called Python's Paradise, and and what I found out. Well, first of all, I was a guest on the show. I'm grateful to Greg for that. What I found out is that he has an audience that I want to call them. Would it be fair, Greg, to call your audience a movie-going public?
Probably, yeah, sure.
Because
But I interview people from all sorts of entertainment, but mostly movies. Yeah, sure.
yeah, but you have some of the most obscure people. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of what we're talking
Mhm.
about. He will have various victims of horror film.
Oh, okay.
Victim number 2, girl in the blue dress.
Oh, okay.
And because they don't usually get credit on
No,
film,
they don't.
you know.
And they're
And
usually the
so
best
Greg,
actresses on there.
yeah, and Amelia,
Hmm.
that's exactly right. Greg
Hmm.
he will feature them on his show, Python's
Hmm.
Paradise.
Hmm.
And so I want to find out, Greg. And first of all, Greg and I know each other, so it's not like we're strangers here. Um, I never got to ask you on your show because I was busy answering questions, and now I get a chance to ask. Uh, how did Python's Paradise come about? Walk me through the from concept to delivery.
The idea came from when I was watching American Graffiti one night, and
Hmm.
I love the scene where you got the Suzanne Summers and the pink was it
Oh, the
T-bird?
white T-bird.
The white
Yeah,
T-bird, yes.
not pink, not white. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
that famous white
and
T-bird.
Richard Dreyfuss goes to the radio station. You hear Wolfman Jack all night
Ah,
Hmm.
throughout the
baby.
movie. Yeah, and
Hmm.
anyway, he goes in there. He sees he wants to get a shout out so he can make a connection to her.
Sure.
Hmm.
So he goes in there and he sees this guy eating popsicles that are melting because the air conditioner is crashed.
Yes.
Hmm.
And he offers him popsicles. He says he's got a whole fridge of them. What he's seeing is Wolfman Jack, but he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's seeing the guy who plays Wolfman Jack.
Yes.
But he tells Richard Dreyfuss, yeah, if I can get this to Wolfman before morning, I'll get that played. I love the shot where Richard Dreyfuss leaves and he hears him on the radio doing his thing. He does that
Yeah.
double take. It's
Hmm.
like two different
Well,
people.
remember, Greg, at that scene you're talking about, all he's seeing is the silhouette with the
Yep.
arms in the air,
Hmm.
and he hears Wolfman Jack's voice. You know?
But we, the audience, see the guy
Yeah,
with the
we know who it
popsicles.
is exactly.
Yes.
Now, I kind of love the mystery of that. Python comes from the fact that I love African wildlife, if I watch animal videos, a lot of times it's African wildlife.
Right.
I love snakes. I don't own one. I have a kitty, but I
Mhm.
do like snakes. And Python just to me seemed like a great DJ name. I was always a big fan of Jake the Snake Roberts because he'd always dump that snake on his opponents.
Yeah.
And yeah. And
Funny.
anyway, so I went with the name Python. Now, the hyena part comes from look, I was bullied bad when I was young. I wasn't very popular.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Mhm.
50 this year, so I mean I've come a long way. But
Yeah.
but
Sure.
when I was young, I wasn't very popular because I was socially awkward.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that hate various animals, but they don't really know why. Snakes kill more pests and rodents than birds of prey
Yeah.
and cats.
Yeah.
And I got to turn my thing on the fly here. There we go.
There you go.
Um, so they serve a big purpose. I didn't know they killed more than birds of prey when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
rats.
Sure.
So they serve a very big purpose. Snakes do not hunt people,
Right.
and excuse me, sorry.
Bless you, sir.
Bless
Yeah,
you.
need to get that out of my system. Anyway, the hyena is another animal looked down on. People see them as cowardly, this and that. Hyena's
Yeah.
got the strongest jaw power of any mammal. They are.
Right.
Oh, I love that picture you put up there. I'm
Oh,
going
that's
to use
awesome.
that. I am going to use that. I
But
might even.
it was made for you, by the way.
Well, you know what? I might make those on my business cards. I love that. Thank you very much.
You're quite. It was my gift to you for the welcoming me on your show.
Well, you know what? It was my honor, my honor. But yeah, these are animals that are highly looked down on. But here's the thing with the hyena. They say that the hyena would fit right at home in a sewer because
Yeah.
they clean up everything that a lot of animals leave behind.
Sure.
That helps the environment.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to be down on the lower end. I know
Mhm.
what it's like to be looked down on. But these are two animals that just know how to keep going.
Yeah.
So I like both. I don't own either, but I do have a cat that I love very much, and he's around here somewhere. But
Mhm.
but nonetheless, that's where I got the name. A lot of people just call me Python, but I got
Yeah.
through the hyena on there as well. So in
It's an
paradise,
interesting, really is, and you and I talked a little bit about it on your show when I was your guest.
yeah,
It really is an interesting juxtaposition. The python hyena. Now, those are two words that are you don't usually associate together, but for some odd reason, and perhaps you're the only guy in North America that could pull it off. Python hyena seems to work for you. It
it's
really
like
does.
it's like stern laughter.
Exactly.
I'm
Mhm.
watching. I'm on to
Exactly.
you. You know,
Mhm.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
The paradise part come from one night I was watching The Phantom of the Paradise, the Brian De Palma
oh
film, and
my God, I haven't seen that film, Greg, in ages.
I've interviewed
Phantom
four
of the
people.
Paradise with
Yeah.
Paul Williams.
Well, Paul Williams walking in and seeing them all on that bed going around circles, I was like,
Yeah.
the paradise is his paradise.
Yes.
Movies and media are kind of my paradise, you know.
Mhm.
So I call
Exactly.
it
Well, that's a
Python's
great
Paradise.
segue, actually, because we're
Oh
going to
yes.
talk about how you got into
Mhm.
film, and particularly, you have a love. I was going to say a fascination with, but it's really not a fascination. It's more a love affair,
Mhm.
as America does with horror film. So your interest in horror, where was that generated from? As a kid, perhaps?
You know what? When I was young, I was scared of horror films. I was very squeamish. It's funny. I didn't like getting needles when I was young. Now it's like, yeah, stick it in. You know.
Yeah. Like
Um,
this arm or this arm, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I
Mhm.
was young, my favorite movie, and it's still one of my favorite movies, was Clash of the Titans, the Ray Harryhausen film.
Oh my God!
You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I
love
still
that
love that
movie.
film. I also love teen comedies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Risky
Hmm.
Oh
Business, Valley Girl.
Yes.
Love
yes,
those,
Hmm.
you
yes.
know. But horror, I was always afraid
Let
of.
me back you up. Let me
Yes.
back you up. Okay, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. All right, Amelia, hold your
Yes.
ears.
Like,
The
okay.
greatest scene in that film, and Python, you got to tell me yay or nay to it. The greatest scene in that film was Judge Reinhold in the bathroom, the masturbation scene.
No, the greatest scene in that film was Phoebe Cates coming out of the pool.
Ah,
That's what I thought he was gonna say was her coming out of the pool.
there you go. There you
Hmm.
go.
I've interviewed a couple people from Fast Times at Ridgemont
Yeah,
High.
I
Yeah.
know a couple people that were in it.
Well, you
Yeah.
know what? If you put me in touch, I'd love to have them on. I've had Kelly Maroney on, and I love her. She's awesome.
What if I could get you Phoebe Cates?
I would love Phoebe Cates.
You'd be indebted to me for the rest of your natural life.
She
I
married
will.
well.
I know her agent.
Yeah.
I'll give him a call. So it's interesting then. So the whole horror genre, and by the way, it's got to be a global phenomenon, Python, that people love to be scared. Let me ask you that question? We'll start with, and then I'll throw it to Amelia.
Mhm.
Why do we love to have the shit scared out of us?
Because we're safe. Look, after I'm done tonight, I might go see X at the theater for a fourth time.
What
So,
is it about this movie that you love? You keep going back to the theater to
uh,
see this movie.
you know what? Because it looks like they say it's Boogie Nights meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I'm going to be frank with you. It's set in 1979, and it looks like it was shot then.
Yes,
Ty,
that's
Ty,
that's the best movies.
It's a time. It's a period piece.
Hmm.
Ty West did such a great
Yeah.
job making it look like something you would have rented on VHS.
Hmm.
And you know what? I have to say to you, I agree, and also I understand the whole Boogie Nights thing because that film
Love it.
looked like it was shot in the 70s.
Love Boogie
Interestingly
Nights.
enough, so was another called, and I'm sure you know the film with Val Kilmer. It was called Wonderland about
Never seen
John.
that one, but Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas certainly classifies.
Hmm.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. The
Mhm.
Hmm.
Wonderland was the story of
Hmm.
adult film star John Holmes.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
for people who don't know, Val Kilmer did a hell of a job playing John Holmes. But absolutely, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the Hunter Thompson story, correct? Yes,
Yep.
Hunter S.
Johnny
Thompson.
Depp.
He was an unusual writer. They called him a pulp novelist. And so, if you don't know who Hunter Thompson was, look him up. Then go see Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Rent it at your local blockbuster. Anyway, you'll get it on demand on your television probably. So talk to me then about how this escalated from your love of film into this phenomena called Python's Paradise, and then after that, go ahead, Amelia. You can take it from there.
Well, for me, what had happened was I still do review movies. I started doing that in 1996, and I loved going to the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Even by myself, I go to the movie theater, and I still do it today.
Good
I
for
like to go
you.
once a week, you know. And what had happened is I did that for about 10 years. And then my best friend here, Colin, had said to me, he says, Greg, why don't you see if CHSR, which is on um, the University of New Brunswick, it's a radio station down there for students, and see if they need a film critic. So I went down, actually, I called them, and the program director seemed very interested. So I brought my portfolio down there, and she was pretty impressed. And I started a show where I would read my film reviews and I would play music. And in fact, I remember Avril Lavigne's song "Together" was the first song I played down there.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was doing that for 10 years. And then through a former colleague, I wound up with an interview with Tommy Wiseau from The Room.
Sure.
Now, the individual in question he didn't have a way of recording it
Yeah.
or something of that nature. I said to him, I said, look, let's do it on the show. And so we did.
Beautiful.
And Tommy Wiseau, it's an interesting first interview to do. And after doing that interview, it was like, who else could I do this with?
There you go. Now the wheels are turning, right?
Yeah. Well, my mind went back to my uncle who used to own a video store. And I kept thinking about all the girls I had crushes on back then and how many of them could I get to talk to me?
Right.
And it's really led places. Like I had interviewed Lisa Langlois from the movie Class of 1984, who I owe a lot to, because this woman not only, she said she just saw something in me. I interviewed her twice. She's going to come on again at some point. But we got talking about travel because she had just moved back to Canada. Anyway, she asked what was stopping me. And then she invited me to assist her at her table at Horrorama in Toronto.
There you go.
That was the first time I'd ever been out in New Brunswick.
Really? Is it your first appearance at a HorrorCon?
Yes.
And what was that experience like for you?
Awesome. First off, Lisa has become a dear friend. I call her about once a week. And anytime I'm in Toronto, we hook up. We go to dinner. We go to, we got these thing called scene points for the movies.
Yeah.
Where you can get free movies. Like when I go see X tonight, I'll get so many points. So when I go to Toronto, that's where I use those. I always tell Lisa, pick some movies.
Yeah.
And Lisa taught me how to use the subways because we don't have them here, the streetcars. Lisa's become a wonderful friend and has helped me get connections. She got me to do business cards and stuff. Lisa was wonderful. And we went around to the Class of 1984 locations and stuff like that. And Nancy McLaughlin of Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, has become a dear friend as well. But that first con, Horrorama, was special.
Can I tell you how jealous I am of you?
Sure.
You have, there's one person, and I could care less about anybody else, but there's one person that you have in your arsenal. One person, one woman that I am a huge, humongous fan of. Catherine Mary Stewart.
You want to interview her, huh?
You kidding me? I want to cuddle up with her. Are you shitting me? Yes, I'd love to interview her. But I just think that she's just got those big, beautiful, just those doe eyes. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Amelia, you're a woman. You don't understand this. A guy understands this. The doe eyes. Yes.
I could probably
she's a hell of an
connect you.
actress on top of that too.
I could probably connect you with her.
I would love that. She's a hell of an actress. She's really very talented young lady. And,
she is a
she's
hoot.
Beautiful too.
She's a hoot, I'll tell you.
Is she really? Is she funny?
Yeah. She is funny. Yes. I've had her on twice.
Oh, you got to bring her on then. Absolutely. Even if you come on with her.
She's not located right here, but
Oh, is she in the States here or is she in Canada?
no, she's in New York, I think.
Oh, is she in? Oh, she's not far from us then. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah, she's not far
far
from me
from
at all.
you. Yeah.
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 So,
But
Amelia,
Yes.
questions for the Python.
Is there a movie that you still can't watch since you were a kid? Like me, I can't. I still to this day. I'm 50 years old. I just turned 50, and I still to this day cannot watch Salem's Lot. Not even in the
gee,
daytime.
I
Salem
got that on
Lot.
Blu-ray.
I cannot watch that movie. I
I
can't
love
even
that
start it.
movie. I have
I
my. I still have my VHS copy right here.
really.
I'm not even kidding.
I will just like go like this, and I'll jump in somebody's arms and stay like this the whole time. I will not watch that movie. I can't.
Well, I
What
don't know
about that,
about
Greg?
I don't know about when I was young, but I'll tell you a movie I'll never watch again is of course I was an adult when I saw it, was Pearl Harbor.
Uh-huh.
Hate that movie with a passion. It
Yeah.
ticked me off when I come out of the movie theater to find out it was a 3-hour love fest,
Oh wow.
the love triangle. And
Uh-huh.
apparently the studio sold it to Japan as a love story.
Oh my goodness.
So people wonder why I call it a racist movie. It is a racist movie.
Mhm.
It's a piece of trash. Watch Apocalypse Now or Platoon. See it done
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, I still to this day cannot watch that movie for some reason. And I remember when I was younger, I would never watch horror movies because my mom did not like horror movies. So my mom's oldest sister decided one night we were going to stay with her. So she said, "Let's watch Halloween." And I'm like, "Okay, I've never watched a scary movie. Are you sure?" She goes, "Oh, it's just us. Come on." So she is like the horror movie fanatic. So I was like, "Okay." But she says, "Let's watch. We'll stay in the living room. We'll all cuddle up." So she was our favorite aunt. And it just happened to be Jamie Lee Curtis. And I thought, "Okay, Jamie Lee Curtis, let's all cuddle up." So all us kids, we had a summer party, and she was like our favorite aunt. We got sodas, popcorn, and that was our favorite time to spend with her. And I'll remember that memory for the rest of
Oh
my
man.
life. And Jamie Lee Curtis and I share the same birthday, not the same year, but the same birthday. And I'll remember that for the rest of my life. And then my son was about 10, 11 years old, and she stayed with us that one night at my house. And she ended up doing the same tradition with my kids. And we watched Halloween that night. So it was pretty cool years later. So
I've
I remember that.
interviewed Sandy Johnson from Halloween, who played Judith
Mhm.
Myers.
Mhm.
Yes.
She's a sweetheart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart.
So I love
There
that.
you
Is that?
go. Salem's Lot, right there. Return to
Oh
Salem's Lot.
no.
There you go.
No, thank
On
you.
VHS. Look at
And,
this, Python.
and you better not send that to me either.
I have an
I'll send it back.
extensive. I'm telling you what. I have an extensive VHS collection. I love. To me, and call me crazy, but I love film on VHS tape. There's just
Oh,
something about
yeah.
the grainy quality of
Mhm.
VHS.
I like
I love it.
Blu-ray because then I don't have to worry about the tape being chewed up.
Oh, true. Go ahead,
is
Amelia. You're
is
still up
there
to
like
bat, kid.
is
By the
there a
way,
worse? Mhm.
by the way, I seen my first naked woman in a horror movie.
Oh, we all did.
Friday
For
the
me,
13th, Part 2, Kirsten Baker.
Uh-huh.
That was the scene where mom come in and turned the television off. Didn't matter about the kills.
it was 1969. Christopher Lee. I'm sorry, Peter Cushing
Uh-huh.
in Count Yorga Vampire with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Count Yorga Vampire. It was called.
Well, I'd like
And
to hope that those weren't the ones you saw naked in it.
well, no, they weren't. No, although Christopher Lee was kind of a good-looking guy, but no, I digress.
He's got
No,
nothing on Kirsten Baker.
there was a young woman. Actually, it's funny. There was a woman in that movie, but thank you. Um, there was a young woman in that movie that she had a cameo appearance. Her name was Mary Millington. She would
Okay.
become famous for something else, which was adult films in England. They call them blue films.
Okay.
and she became an adult film actress, but her first cameo appearance was as a naked vampire in Count Yorga Vampire.
Mhm.
True.
Mhm.
Very
Amelia,
true.
what was you going to ask me before?
Oh, what was to this day? What was like your worst interview that you've had so far, or have you had a worst interview that you couldn't wait for it to be over?
You know what? I'm going to tell you the worst I think I'd done was back in January. I interviewed a guy from that really crappy Black Christmas remake,
Mhm.
Oh my God.
2006.
Horrible.
Peter New.
Mhm.
I thought he was fine as far as a guest goes,
Mhm.
but something got spun a little out of control
Mhm.
on that. He was also in Scooby Doo Monsters Unleashed.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and now I've asked this question before, and I meant no disrespect,
Mhm.
Right.
but I said to him, I said, is Sarah Michelle Gellar as beautiful in person as she is on screen? And he goes, I'm not going to answer that.
Wow.
That's disrespectful. You would never ask me that. And I'm sitting here thinking, are you kidding me?
What's disrespectful about it? Her face is
Yeah.
all over the world. Her body, in fact, is all over the world. Why
Mhm.
would you be, all of a sudden closed mouthed about whether she's beautiful or not?
Well, that turned into a very cringy interview. And
Mhm.
then on top of that, I made the mistake of asking him what the pandemic situation was like in Vancouver, British Columbia, where he was,
Yeah.
and he said he's going to get his booster. I got my 2 shots. I haven't had my booster. I haven't been asked. I feel
Yeah.
Mhm.
fine, but then he starts lecturing me about getting my booster. He says, "Don't." He goes, "Don't be an idiot," or something of those lines. Get your booster. You're affecting your community. I'm sitting here thinking,
Oh my gosh.
screw you.
Yeah, I would have said at that point, Python,
Oh my gosh.
thank you very much for joining me.
Mhm.
Um,
It ended
and
the
then I would
show
have
right
cut the
then.
interview at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I tried to do the best I could,
Mhm.
and I was very apologetic. But
Mhm.
I've asked the question before: is so and so is beautiful in person?
Mhm.
Hmm.
I've never had that happen before, and it's like,
That's a very peculiar thing to even
Mhm.
broach with someone.
Mhm.
I would be I'd be embarrassed to have answered it that way. To be honest with you.
Mhm.
well, I wasn't
You
very
know,
pleased with it, but
Mhm.
well, I can
nonetheless,
imagine.
Yeah, I would
but
be
I
too.
can imagine.
but
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm a bigger Emma Stone fan, not Sarah Michelle
Yeah.
Gellar. So there you
I hear
go.
you.
I
Well,
Yeah.
let's
think
talk
Emma's.
about cringeworthy moments.
Mhm.
We just came off a weekend at the Academy Awards. Talk about cringeworthy.
Yes.
Yep.
What a great segue.
Mhm.
In your opinion, my dear friend, and you're a wrestling fan. I should say that the Greg is also a wrestling fan, so he knows a little bit about work and shoot.
Mhm.
The Will Smith Chris Rock situation. Was it a wrestling angle? Was it worked, do you think, or was it genuine?
I would have thought it was a work until the aftermath because Will Smith was swearing right there on live TV.
Yes, he
You
Yeah.
was.
know,
Oh
um,
yeah. Dropping F bombs. Yeah, big time.
here's my thoughts. A lot of it comes down to, did Chris Rock know that Jada Pinkett had a condition?
And I don't think he did.
You
I don't
know,
think so.
That's a very good point. I
and,
don't think he did.
and Howard
Continue.
Stern made a point. Had it been Jason Momoa or The Rock, Will Smith would never have gone up there.
Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Because he would have got squashed like a bug.
Mhm.
Now I can appreciate the fact he's standing up for his wife. Um,
Oh, no problem there.
Jada
Absolutely.
Pinkett, I loved her in The Nutty Professor. I don't think of G.I. Jane. I think of The Nutty Professor. She was
Hmm.
wonderful in that. She's very lovely.
Yeah.
I can appreciate Will Smith standing up for her. But
But
if
do you
I walked up
understand?
and assaulted somebody, it'd been a different
Yeah.
story.
But do you understand though that Chris Rock, and people don't understand this. Chris Rock is a comedian. It's his job he's hosting a
To
live award
entertain.
show.
Hmm.
Okay, think about this. There are two things to keep in mind. Number one, he's a comedian. Number two, he's live. Okay. So he has to stretch time in between segments. You and I both know what that's like because this is what we do. Okay. So as a comedian, I'm thinking to myself, because I know a little bit about comedy. I ran comedy clubs for a long time. And I know how comedians work. They're always looking for a quick, fast, effective punchline. Okay. And that was a quick, fast, and effective punchline. The G.I. Jane joke was fine. And Will Smith, if you look at him, was laughing at
He
that
was
Oh
line
yeah,
very,
I noticed
he,
that too.
yeah,
until his wife got up and whispered in his ear.
and she
And
had that
then
look on her face
everything
too.
changed. And I think she
Hmm.
instigated the whole damn thing.
Hmm.
I think his wife instigated it because there's a history people don't know about. Check it out if you think I'm lying. There's a history between Chris Rock and Will Smith. They had bad blood years ago. They mended their fences, and I think Jada Pinkett Smith, kind of reemerged that wedge there. And she did it in a very big, very public, very over the top kind of way. That whole thing went well beyond what it should have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad enough that Will Smith dropped the F bomb once on television, but he did it 3 times. And
Yep.
he said it loud enough that the entire 6,000 seat auditorium remained silent. And his voice was the only voice heard among 6,000 people without a microphone, by the way.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So don't get me, see, I get started on this. I hear people saying, oh, it was an angle. They worked it. He didn't ever really hit him. But you know what? Look at it again. Take a good look
Hmm.
at that tape again. That
Yes.
something was very amiss there. And I think that it all hinged on her whispering into her husband's ear, aren't you going to do something about this?
Well, I don't think it was work, but I'll tell you one
Oh, I
thing.
don't either. I'm with
Chris
you.
Chris Rock, he handled it better than I did because I probably would have lashed out back.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
And I said this before. He took the high road. He took the class move on that one. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Amelia, your thoughts on the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith situation?
Well, I know that he apologized to Chris Rock later on, and Chris Rock has not responded. And I know that the Academy of the awards Oscars is going to investigate this a little bit further.
Yeah.
And people like that have done that in the past have been blacklisted from movies, anything like that, to attendance. And I feel that they might blacklist
Well,
him
I
from
will
movies.
tell you that this weekend, in
Hmm.
fact, today's Tuesday,
Hmm.
Friday night,
Hmm.
Chris Rock is going to appear no more than 30 minutes from my house
Hmm.
in Atlantic City, New Jersey. He's going to appear here. His ticket sales are through the roof.
Oh, I bet he's already
You
sold
can't.
out.
The best thing that Will Smith did for Chris Rock was slap him because he just made that man a millionaire,
Oh, absolutely.
if he isn't already.
Yes.
Okay?
And a lot of scripts are going to come his way, movie
Because
scripts.
Chris Rock's
Hmm.
show for the entire weekend in
Hmm.
Atlantic City is sold out at the Borgata Hotel for
Hmm.
the whole weekend.
Yes.
13,000 tickets are gone.
Hmm.
Okay?
Oh, yes.
He made his money. Trust me.
Oh, yes. And they said that they were going to be doing some more investigation. The
Crazy.
Academy of the Awards Academy, a lot of people are going to be doing some more investigation because they're going to
Yeah.
look
Oh
into
my
this.
God. It's going to be crazy.
And
Python.
it,
Amelia asked you if there was a film that you just could not watch. You mentioned Pearl Harbor.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Among the horror genre, because I'm a horror fan. I'll just tell you that straight up. I love horror films. And I love older horror films. One of my favorites, and you'll probably know it, is called Circus of Fear.
Mhm.
Okay.
I love that film. What are some of the horror films that you don't care for, based on either acting or directing or just the overall script or feel of the film?
You want me to tell you one I don't understand the appeal of? Is The
Please.
Mist.
Yes, I couldn't really get
I
that.
That's
I
Stephen
hated The
King. Yeah.
Mist. So many people are saying it had a great ending. I won't spoil it, but I was ticked off when I
Yeah.
got to the end of the film and that happened.
Yes. I have that film not more than 10 feet from me right now. It's like literally in my video library.
You mean it's not in
And
the trash?
well, no, I'll tell you why it's here. I'm a collector.
Hmm.
It's part of my Stephen King collection, and that's why it's there. Doesn't mean Stephen King being the author of it doesn't mean it's good. It just means he wrote a really good book that they turned into a really shitty movie.
Yeah, I did not like it. The end. Like, I won't give away what happened. I'll be that respectful. But
Yeah.
when somebody makes a decision that he doesn't want to make,
Yeah.
and then he can't make that decision for himself,
Yeah. I
and
know
then
you.
all of a sudden a solution comes.
Yeah.
It's,
Hmm.
like, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not calling that a good ending. I think that's pure shit. I
It's
hated that movie.
it's
Hmm.
predictable shit. It really is. I
And then
like
people think that's cool. I think it's garbage.
it is garbage. I
Mm.
didn't care for it. I didn't care. You didn't, Amelia, do you know the film that he's referring to, The Mist, Stephen
Yes.
King?
Hmm.
Your opinions.
I mean, it's just a movie like you said that a lot of his movies they've turned into different. A lot of his books they've turned into
It
different movies.
seems to be kind of a film where it's very
It's a different plot twist
it, it's
every
it's
time.
it's it's viewer
Hmm.
um it's a kind of a viewer discretion film where
Hmm.
you're going to get as many opinions as you do people watch it.
Yes.
Um, I I like the film. I'm with Python on this one. I didn't
Hmm.
like the ending of it.
Yeah, because you're like, what?
Um,
Wait, what? It's
it
like,
was too
yeah.
convenient for me, and I don't like
Hmm.
convenient endings.
Hmm.
I really don't. Python, talk to me about a guest that you may have had that surprised you either with their intellect or their humor or their perhaps you expected them to be nicer and they were miserable. One
So
person that, in other words,
yes.
defied what you thought they would be.
I have no idea, but I could talk about guests that really went beyond. Like, I think Ted White was a wonderful interview. He was
Yeah.
Jason in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I mean, that guy,
Yeah. Tell everybody who Ted White was. You and I both know who he is.
he's a stunt man. He's 96. He's been on my show twice. And he worked in stunts, doubling for people like John Wayne, um, Lee Marvin, Clark Gable. He knew Marilyn Monroe when she was Norma Jean.
Yeah.
That guy had some stories,
Yeah, boy.
you know.
Yes, he did.
Um, I can't think of right off the top of my head who I was disappointed by. Well, boy, I don't want to go in here, but my last interview with Debbie Sue Voorhees wasn't exactly. She was an hour late getting on, but
Yeah. Oh, well, we know that whole situation.
I'm
We're
not
not
going
going
to talk that because I promised I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I've had her on my show 5 times.
Yeah.
You know, I'm involved with 13 Fanboy as a
Hmm.
co-producer, and
Yeah.
but I said that I wouldn't.
Well, let me tell people about 13's Fanboy. If you are a fan of the Friday the 13th franchise series,
Mhm.
Greg Gilbert, aka Python Hyena, is an associate producer on 13's Fanboy, which is a film about the Friday the 13th film franchise. It's a film about a film. And
Mhm.
now, do you get killed in this without giving away? Are you a
Oh
victim in this?
no, my name is at the beginning of the movie. I put
Okay,
3K into it, and my name is in at the beginning of the movie as a co-producer, and it's at the end of the movie. And my picture is in a scene covered in blood. It's in a scene with Tracy Savage, whom I think is beautiful. I've had her
wonderful
on the show a
actress
few
too.
times.
Wonderful
Yeah,
actress.
I love Tracy. Um, it's it, it's an interesting movie. It had an interesting plot to it, and for a first time director, Debbie Sue did a fine job. Well, I don't know if it was, maybe it was her first feature film directing debut.
Okay.
Like she's done some shorts she's done. Um, but yeah, she was an hour late on that. I don't know what the situation was because
Yeah.
I was in between work locations and I was like waiting, but nonetheless, we got it done. But I don't want to dwell on that. She got the movie done.
Yeah.
I wish I had a plate here in Canada, but it did not.
Yeah.
But
What kind of distribution did the film have?
from my standpoint, not a very good one because I mean it played in a few select theaters in the States, in the
Mm-hmm.
UK. I had pitched having it play in Toronto when I was there for Frightmare in the Falls last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for a week. I had wore the t-shirts and brought the tote bag with me to Horrorama in Toronto
Mm-hmm.
and Frightmare in the Falls. So I did a lot of legwork for it, and I could have probably got some people into the theater to see it there, but
Yeah.
especially in and around Frightmare in the Falls. But I don't know what the distribution was like.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm kind of struggling to accept the fact that it doesn't even have a Blu-ray release. But
Well, my question for you then is a great segue. My question for you is more financial. Now you've invested, and you've said it on several interviews, including the one you and I did, and plus tonight, that you invested $3,000 into this film, and your name is on the credits, and you have a co-producer role on it, which is a big deal in the film business
Mhm.
because that means that people are going to see your name, and perhaps if a young filmmaker sees that and contacts you, there's a chance you might invest in his film. Problem is, if your film doesn't make any money or you barely recoup your 3 grand back, it makes it difficult to reinvest it. So, what kind of residual return, if any, did you get on this film, or is it too early yet?
I'm not going to get any residual return. You contribute the money. It was done on Indiegogo, which I knew. I have no regrets putting my name on it.
Right.
There's a great cast in it.
Yeah.
I think Vincent DeSante is having a lot more success with this on the new Never Hike Alone movie.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, but but I know I'm going to get perks, or at least I'm supposed to.
Yeah. Sure.
But
Mhm.
I don't know. But this was Debbie Sue's first feature
Yeah.
film, I believe. It's something she directed.
Okay.
So when she makes her next film, she'll probably do stuff differently. I don't know. She's testing the waters with this. So
Is
I
this your
can't.
first experience as a producer?
Yeah, I've done a few others.
I have to tell you, I have co-produced and associate produced a couple of projects for television and for film the television stuff obviously never came to fruition because I'm still here, and
You're
that's
here with
okay.
me. Hey,
Yes, exactly. I
there you
get to
go.
hang out with
Hey,
Amelia every week,
there you go.
and I
Good
get to talk
company.
to interesting people and make new friends like
Mhm.
Greg Gilbert, the Python.
That's right.
But the interesting thing about the film business, television's one animal, Greg,
Yes.
but the film industry is a very different animal. Um, it's a lot more cut.
Oh,
Oh, he's
there's
got the cat. Look at that cat. Look at that
Skittles.
cat.
Hi, Skittles.
Skittles,
Hello.
you got so close. You
Oh.
are going to join me.
There you go.
Hi,
You
Skittles.
mix. You got to make Skittles your new co-host.
There you go.
Skittles says he doesn't want to be my co-host. He said
Oh.
he just wants to be fed treats. He says you're
Exactly.
exploiting me. You're using me for hits.
There you go. And
And
using
I
it for hits.
Oh.
Exactly.
and you're freeloading, Giddy.
Exactly.
I'm
Hey,
working.
I
Oh.
had a co-host on this show on Wrestling with the Future. My former co-host, Dan the Man Sebastiano. Every show, like clockwork, his cat used to make a cameo at the end of the show. And I don't know if this cat knew that there was a red light on,
Mhm.
but every time that red light went on, he used to walk across Dan's shoulders, or across his back. I said, Dan,
Oh.
you realize there's a cat on your shoulder? He goes, yeah, well, he knows there's the cameras on.
Oh.
But
Well, we
yeah,
just.
animals are
Oh.
great for getting hits too, by the way.
Well, we just got our dog Ozzy back. He was with my daughter and my former son-in-law, and he's 17 years old, and
Oh,
he's an
God bless
old
him.
little thing, and he's barely can see and hear. But we're gonna take care of him in his old age. That's what I was doing the
Yeah.
other day, is kind of
They can
learning how to
live a
take care of a
long
senior
time,
dog.
They
Yes,
really can live a long time.
yes.
My dog Princess passed away. She was
Hmm.
19 years old.
Yeah.
19.
So we're
And
learning how to take care of a senior dog.
and that dog ate table scraps for 19 years, man.
Yes. We call him Ozzy. His name's
Yeah,
Ozzy.
amazing. So, Greg, let's talk a little bit, my brother. Couple of things. When you and I had our interview together, a couple of things that we were talking about of course, you and I, we spoke and got sidetracked on a lot of different things. But the one thing I love talking about is movies,
Yep.
old movies. What's your favorite old movie? And I mean old, let's say pre 65.
Oh,
I'm
pre
making you think now.
65. Let me think.
I have one, but it's not a horror movie.
It doesn't have
Well,
to
I
be.
could think of several Hitchcock movies.
There you
Hmm.
go.
Rear Window, To
Oh,
Catch a Thief,
yes.
Hmm.
Psycho. They were all pre
Hmm.
65. I love
Yes.
Love
all three.
my favorite Hitchcock. One of my
Hmm.
two favorite Hitchcocks.
Hmm.
Rear Window, Vertigo.
Hmm.
I liked Vertigo even more than Psycho.
Hmm.
Vertigo because you have to know I
Well,
suffer from vertigo.
I gotta say, I get goosebumps when I watch Rear Window because you
I
Hmm.
get
love. Oh my God! What a
James Stewart laying there in that chair asleep,
yeah,
and the shadow cast over him. Grace Kelly's face is coming near. His
yeah.
eyes slowly open. Her face comes near, and slowly she kisses him. And I'm like, that's the way to wake up.
That, my friend, that's called erotic. And people don't know how to do erotic anymore. They know how to do sex. They know how
Mhm.
to do, orgasmic. They don't know how to do eroticism. Like old school. Grace Kelly was a very beautiful woman.
Oh, she's the
Hmm.
most gorgeous
Beau-
woman I think who ever lived.
Hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And she's from Philadelphia, by the way, my
Hmm.
Hmm.
hometown.
Hmm.
A lot of people
Hmm.
don't know that. Interestingly, so is Will Smith, by the way, from my hometown, Philly.
Hmm.
Um, but Grace Kelly had an elegance
Yes,
about her,
she
a
did.
simple elegance about her. She's from Philadelphia high society, money people, you
Hmm.
know. She didn't have to work.
No.
She did not have to work. but she chose to be an actress. It's interestingly enough.
Jean Harlow is
Um,
another one.
Rear Window is a hell of a movie. It's an example in great filmmaking. It had comedy, drama, suspense, intrigue. It had interesting characterizations. The police detective, James Stewart as the photographer, Grace Kelly as his, socialite
Yeah, but you
girlfriend.
want me to tell you what else it did?
Yes,
Hitchcock did something brilliant. He makes the viewer part of the movie because
yes,
everything you see is what James Stewart sees.
absolutely.
You see
You're watching
everything he
everything through his
sees.
eyes. Yes.
Yes.
And when the villain looks across the way, he's looking at you.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
Grace Kelly's potentially in trouble,
Yes.
James can't do anything, but neither can you.
But you know what? The first time I saw that movie, I found myself talking to the TV, going, I went, she's right there. She's there.
Right?
And I was like, part of it was like, stop him. He's gonna kill her.
Right? Go
He's
after that
gonna
guy in the
kill
trench
her.
coat.
Son of a bitch is gonna kill their woman. Go get her.
Right?
Get her. Oh
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
yeah.
Great film.
And I admire Grace Kelly's role in that movie because she wanted to be with him regardless. He kept trying to get rid of her because he didn't think he was worth her.
Yeah.
I loved her character because she was like, nah, she loved him.
Oh my God. Yeah, sure.
Yep. And she took some
Absolutely.
risk. Yeah.
So talk to me about other like pre-65 films that perhaps made some kind of impact on your viewing habits or your taste in cinema.
Well, I'm going to tell you, It's a Wonderful Life is a movie that
Yes, sir.
really speaks volumes about anybody who thinks their life doesn't matter, that they have no reason for being.
You and I look at it the same way, Python. God bless you, brother. Thank you for saying that.
I love it when he's being shown around by Clarence
Yeah.
and he sees the tombstone of his brother and he says,
Yes.
look, he says, I saved my brother. I was in the ice. I got him out. And he goes, he was a war hero. And he says, you don't exist. Therefore, he did not survive the ice. And therefore, he did not save all those people in the war.
Yep. All because you weren't there.
And guess what? Wow, is that ever powerful?
Oh man, Frank Capra knew how to tell a story.
Another one I'm going to bring up is Citizen Kane. I get tired of hearing people say this film is boring. This film is brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's an American masterpiece. Orson Welles.
But stop and think about this. What Orson Welles does. All through the movie, where they're wondering, they're investigating. What does Rosebud mean?
Exactly.
What does Rosebud? They speculate. At that last shot in the movie,
the very last shot in the movie. Yes, sir.
They show you
Rosebud.
what Rosebud meant.
Yep.
And we're the only ones that get to find out.
Yes. Nobody in the film knew, but the viewer got the answer to what is Rosebud.
And what was Rosebud? It was somebody who grew up too fast and lost their childhood, lost their innocence.
Yep.
Citizen Kane is brilliant.
Brilliant. Orson Welles was absolutely well beyond his time. Way ahead of his time as a filmmaker. Incredible.
I think Casablanca is a great movie.
Oh, yes. Please.
Because Humphrey Bogart.
Who could not love Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart, please?
Yes.
Lauren Bacall wasn't in Casablanca. That was Ingrid Bergman.
Ingrid Bergman. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No. What was the film that Bogey and Bacall
The
did?
Big Sleep.
The Big. Thank you.
But Casablanca, I mean,
Ingrid
Bogart
Bergman, yes, that's right.
Bogart was in a position where he had to do the right thing. He
Yeah.
come to realize some situations, some facts,
Mm-hmm.
and he did the right thing. I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Casablanca with Peter Lorre.
Hmm.
Yes. My mind goes crazy when I hear this because I sometimes I insert a star that wasn't there. You
Here's
know.
another one. Another one, like some of the silent stars. Buster Keaton was brilliant,
Oh my
but
God.
Charlie
Mhm.
Chaplin did City Lights.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant movie,
Yes.
because all through this movie,
I got one for you. Go ahead.
well, here's the brilliant thing with City Lights. It's a silent film, but it's the first time words appear on the screen, but they're not there for us to read.
No.
When she says, because this is the blind woman who he was able to give money to so she could get an operation so she could see. Problem is, what he went through to get it to her and what it cost him, she thought he was a rich guy. So when she sees him outside her flower shop, she sees the tramp.
Yeah.
And when she tries to give him a flower, he's hesitant because he knows who she is.
Yes.
She don't know who he is. And when she touches his hand, she just slowly caresses it. And she looks at him and he's kind of embarrassed. And she goes, I can see now. Not just physically,
Yes.
Mhm.
she knows a lot through that hand touch.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Brilliant.
There was an amazing silent star that I'm a big fan of. His name was Harold Lloyd.
Yep.
You know who Harold Lloyd was?
Yep.
A lot of people don't know this. Harold Lloyd was the first actor, silent or not, the first actor to do his very own stunts.
Really?
And he did a film called The Big Clock.
I know that.
Yeah, I have that film on film, on 8mm film.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like 4 reels, and I have it on film. Yeah, but Harold Lloyd was an amazing guy. He could do like Chaplin. He could do anything.
Buster
But
Keaton was known to do his own stunts too.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Buster was brilliant. If you've watched
Mhm.
Sherlock Jr., oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Buster Keaton was a tough guy too in real life.
Hmm.
Um, interestingly enough, Harold Lloyd was a champion swimmer. That I never knew that until fairly recently. He was a champion swimmer. That's why he was in such good shape all the time. He did his own stuff. It was very unusual for a guy, especially Python back in the day, for
Mhm.
them to do their own stunts because the movie production houses protected their stars. They
Mhm.
didn't want them to be hurt. They had like huge insurance policies on them. But when a guy like Harold Lloyd come along, and performs his own stunts and did it effectively, that allowed them to do close-ups and know that that's him there, and to tell the story more effectively through the physical means rather than just the verbal. Another guy that I love. Let's talk about a particular film. Here you go. Here's one for you. And I'm sure you know both of these films. Nosferatu, the vampire.
Yep. How about the cabinet and Dr. Caligari?
Ah, Dr. Caligari. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
That was
That,
brilliant.
oh,
Especially that last scene where everything gets flipped right on its head.
Mhm.
yes. And the other one I'm thinking of is a film that a lot of people don't know, but you want to talk about not only ahead of its time, but prophetic, was a film called Metropolis.
Yes, I've seen that.
Mhm.
Saw that in
Yes,
film
sir.
class. That was
I ha-
brilliant.
I have that film.
Yep.
I collect. I'm a big collector of films, brother. You'll find that out.
Fritz Lang.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
It was made
Brilliant.
by German director Fritz Lang, and I want to tell you something. that man must have had some crystal ball or something, because there were things happening in that film that didn't become reality until probably the last couple of decades.
Yep.
You know, it's you know what we're talking about, Amelia? Do you know the film?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Check it out sometime. It's called Metropolis.
Okay.
You can go on YouTube and watch it.
Okay.
So
It's a
Python,
great film.
Oh, okay. I'll
you've been
definitely
a
check it out.
podcaster for how long, Greg?
What's that?
You've been a podcaster for how long? How long is Python's Paradise a thing?
2015. That's when I interviewed Tommy Wiseau, and I did 20 interviews that year, and last year I did 144 or so, and already this year I've done 56, and we're just getting to the end of March.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I want people to know it. Python's Paradise is the name of the show. It can be heard wherever podcasts are available.
Well, right
Greg,
now it's only on YouTube. I got to get it on these other formats. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I will take care of that. You and I will discuss that after the show. I'm going to make an offer to you.
Okay.
I think you'll find a very generous offer.
Okay.
But because I'm a fan of your show and I like it, and I think people need to see it and hear it.
Mhm.
Python's Paradise is the name of the podcast. It will soon be heard everywhere podcasts are available, and this I assure you, because Greg Gilbert doesn't know this yet, but I'm about to pick up Python's Paradise on the Wrestling with the Future network.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yes, sir. I'm going to promote the hell out of this show.
Yes.
And he is the man called the Python Hyena, Greg Gilbert, my new friend, and we've been in the midst of kind of talking back and forth about different things, and so look, we're all in the same game here. We have to take care of each other.
Absolutely.
Amelia, questions from my friend Greg Gilbert, the Python Hyena.
What did you think of the movie Freddy versus Jason?
It had the wrong director.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie Yu basically went into that movie. He only watched the original Nightmare and the original Friday.
Uh-huh.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street, fine. But you'd have better luck getting something out of an episode of Care Bears than watching the original Yeah, what are you going to get out of the original Friday the 13th?
Mm-hmm.
What's
I
he
didn't know
going
who
to
to
get?
root for.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
What Ronnie Yu should have been doing, he should have watched two films. Friday the 13th, the final chapter,
Mm-hmm.
to get the viciousness of Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and Friday the 13th, part 6, Jason Lives, where he's zombified. And I
Right.
think that's the best one of the franchise. Those are the two he should have watched, not the original. Original gives you backstory, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a poorly done movie or anything,
Yeah.
but in terms of Jason, it gives you nothing really.
Right.
Amelia, can I interject a question real quick? Then I'll throw it
Sure.
back to you.
Sure.
Greg,
Go
are
ahead.
you
Go
a
ahead.
fan, generally speaking, are you a fan of remakes?
It depends. I thought the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers was beautiful. Loved it.
Absolutely.
Loved it.
I did too. Donald Sutherland and
Brooke Adams.
Brooke Adams. Thank you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really liked Eddie Murphy's The Nutty Professor. I preferred it over Jerry Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams did The Birdcage, which was really a mirror image of the French film it was taken off.
Mm-hmm.
There are some remakes that are really good,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of them that aren't. Clash
Yeah.
of the Titans had a shitty remake.
It did. I didn't like the new one. I did not like the new one.
The Psycho remake, shot for shot my ass, was a piece of trash.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably more I can think of.
The Bewitched
Yeah.
one. I did not like that one.
I'll
With
be
Will-
quite frank with you
with
with
Will Ferrell.
Bewitched. That one
I
actually
like that
didn't
one.
bother me, and I'll tell you why. I
Mhm.
like the fact that Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman were playing actors on the set of
Mhm.
Bewitched. I actually thought that was kind of a different take
Mhm.
than what
It
I was
was.
expecting. So I gave that film a bit of leeway on
Yeah.
that, but I get your point though, Amelia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That was interesting. That was different too.
It was
You
very,
know?
very different.
hmm
No, not yet.
Hey, you're
Continue,
supposed
Amelia. Talk.
you're
Ask
supposed
this questions. How you doing there, darling?
here's my
I'm
story
not
when
going to tell you what my wife is doing here.
I
Not
saw
on.
Bewitched at the theater, some woman had her
Uh-huh.
infant child in the front row, and that
Uh-huh.
kid cried and screamed. And I'm
Oh
sitting
my
there
gosh.
thinking, why are you bringing your baby to this movie?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would love to know why people bring babies into a movie anyway.
Uh-huh.
It's like people who bring their little babies into church.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yep.
why? Can't you
Yeah.
like find a babysitter or like have church at home or something? You
Well, a
know?
Mhm.
lot of churches now they have places where either a daycare or there's
Well,
place where
true.
children can.
This is true.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Churches are
Well,
usually pretty good with that. Yep.
um, we're talking about my wife. I'm sorry, only a couple of people can do this, but my wife came down a moment ago without telling you what she wasn't wearing, um, which was like a towel.
Uh,
She was bringing my dog down here. Why?
yeah.
Anyway,
Look,
thank
Skittles
God the
made an
camera was on
appearance.
this side.
Skittles made an appearance, so why not the dog?
She goes, not on
Right.
purpose. That's funny. Oh shit. Um, a couple of things. Oh man, I love television. I love film. Let's talk about one of my pet peeves:
Sure.
the wrong actor in a good film.
Okay.
Okay, give you an example of what I'm talking about. A perfect example of what I'm talking about. A film like Superman. Okay, Christopher Reeve, great actor. His supporting cast, excellent. However, I would not have chose Gene Hackman to play Lex Luthor. Your thoughts?
I thought Gene Hackman was great. Gene Hackman's great in pretty
Did you
much anything he
really?
does.
I couldn't see him as Lex Luthor. I just couldn't. And I love I'm a Superman fan. I love the Superman
Mhm.
franchise.
Mhm.
Well, there
To
comes
me, it
to a
was just
point where it's like,
great actor, but the wrong actor for that part. Give me an example. Amelia,
Uh-huh.
give me an example for Greg of what you would consider a good movie, wrong actor.
Batman.
Okay,
Yep.
another perfect example.
Yes.
You've got the Michael Keaton Batman. You've got the
Mhm.
Val Kilmer Batman. You've got the George
Mhm.
Clooney Batman.
well,
My
George Clooney
opinion,
falls under wrong Batman.
absolutely.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about. Michael Keaton, yeah. Val Kilmer, yeah. George Clooney, no.
Mm-mm.
Wrong guy.
Although I'm going to say I loved Robert Pattinson in the new one. He did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't argue with it. Can't argue with that.
hmm
Good, Amelia.
Yeah.
Questions. Questions for the Python.
Just have you still wanted to have somebody on there that you still haven't gotten yet, but you're still trying to get on the show?
Oh, let me see.
Good
Emma
question.
Stone.
An interesting question. It's an
Oh, my
interesting.
son, I love
Well,
your show if you have her on there.
I know
oh,
that this podcast gave Python a bunch of names and phone numbers.
Oh, if he has Emma Stone on there, I know my son will be watching real quick.
she's my current celebrity crush is Emma Stone.
Mhm.
Um,
Mine would be Henry Cavill from the new Superman. I'd be like, excuse me, I'll be like this watching.
We have someone in the chat room that wants to ask a question. Jesse is in the chat room. Jesse, ask your question to Python or to Amelia or myself. So while she's asking her question, we will we'll continue. I'll tell you, talk about the wrong actor in a good film. Oh my God! Let's see. Oh, there's so many examples. Where do we start?
I know, right?
I can't even think.
I know. There's just so many different movies you would think that they would have
Yeah. Oh
chosen.
my
Oh,
God.
I
The
got one.
co-star should have been the star to me.
Go ahead, Greg.
I got one. Okay. The 7-Year Itch
Hmm
with Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe and Tom Ewell. Yeah.
Tom Ewell, when I watched this, he seemed extremely over the top
Very
through the
much.
whole movie.
Uh-huh.
That wouldn't have bothered me so much had I not seen test footage of who they were supposed to have play it.
I know.
Walter Matthau was originally supposed to play it,
Yes.
but due to the studio, they wouldn't let them have him. I watched
Yeah,
Walter
that's true.
Matthau do the same thing, and rather than go over the top, Matthau was able to do the same thing so
Yeah.
naturally, so believably. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness, I can't watch the 7-Year Itch anymore.
And for people who want to know who Tom Ewell was, he was an actor who began his career back in the 30s and 40s. His career kind of peaked out about the mid 60s, but people who watch television will remember Tom Ewell as the sidekick of Beretta with Robert Blake. He played it was his uncle or his friend or whatever he was. But Tom Ewell was a character on Robert Blake's Beretta TV series, as of course a much older man then. But yeah, Tom Ewell, he was over the top. But I don't know, Greg, if he was supposed to be or whether that's just his particular acting style. I'll give you another example of a guy who people mock him for being over the top. In fact, he even mocks himself. William Shatner. You know where I'm going with that. He's
Yeah.
yeah. What about Shatner as an actor?
Actor?
Yeah, good actor. Is he is a guy like William Shatner overrated? Or
he's
what?
good, but he's good with Captain Kirk.
Yeah, that was his role. That was his role. Captain Kirk was his role. It was made for him. He was born to play it. And I don't know of any other William Shatner role that I can think of that was memorable. And I'm not being facetious. Aside from Captain Kirk and early Kirk, and I'm not talking about the motion picture remakes where he played Kirk, or the one where he played Kirk. It was just a very peculiar something to watch. You know, it was weird watching him revise that character as an older guy.
Yes.
It's always weird watching him.
It is. He's a strange kind of bird.
Look, I got nothing against him. I love watching.
He's a fellow Canadian, a fellow countryman.
Yep.
Yeah, he's from Canada. Amelia.
Yes.
Questions for Greg.
Have you ever like watched a movie and thought, okay, this guy, I've seen him, or this woman, I've seen him in the TV series. It's weird to watching them in another movie, and then all of a sudden, it's like you're used to seeing them in this one particular movie or TV show, and then think to yourself, no, they don't belong in this movie. They belong in this other movie or TV show instead. It's like it's a weird thing to see them in another movie.
No, I'm going to tell you where I'm going to go with this. I love seeing actors go against type.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anytime I can
Yes.
see an actor, one of the things I love about Emma Stone is that
Hmm.
she always grasps my curiosity every time I see her. You know,
Hmm.
another one that's really getting my attention with the new Scream and with X recently
Hmm.
is Jenna Ortega. I'm really
Yes.
digging her, and she's only 19, and she's
Yes.
Yeah.
got my attention.
Hmm.
Just stuff she does with her eyes and facial expressions and X
Yeah.
um, is terrific.
Hmm.
But Emma, I always look forward to because she could do any genre. She's done La La Land, which is a musical,
Yes.
Zombie Land, which is horror. She was
Hmm.
Cruella Deville, and I loved her in that. She was in the comedies like Easy A,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Super Bad, and she
The
was in The
Help.
Favorite, The
The
Help.
Help. Hmm. That's
Like
where I got
Emma,
the pie reference from, Angelo. By the way,
What's that? What happened?
that pie, that piece of pie. Anybody want some pie reference? That's where I
Oh,
got
you
that
know
from.
what?
well, thing
You.
with Emma Stone, she's my current crush,
Hmm.
but the same token, I don't go to get giddy watching her. I go to see
Hmm.
what she's going to do. I
She's
went to
a
see.
very great actress. Very
I
good actress.
really, I just,
Hmm.
even watching her being interviewed, she
Hmm.
just seems like somebody you want to hang out with.
Yes.
I
Yep.
loved her in Birdman.
Oh, I
Hmm.
love Birdman.
Yes.
Love
That
Birdman.
was a good movie.
I love films about the business.
Yep.
I love movies about movies, and I
Hmm.
love movies about the theater,
Speaking of
Hmm.
pre
particularly behind the
65, you
scenes.
must have liked Sunset Boulevard.
Loved it.
Hmm.
I'll
Hmm.
tell you what else I loved, and a lot of people didn't care for it, was Al Pacino's Looking for Richard.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a great film that takes you behind the scenes of the production of Richard III,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and the how he cast the film, the actors in the film play the actors playing actors, you know, which is, when you talk about going against type, there's one guy I love to watch. He's typecast almost always as either inmate number one or uh,
Hmm.
or thug number one. His name is Danny Trejo.
I love him. Yep.
Yes,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
love watching Danny Trejo in comedy
You
because
want me to tell you something about Danny Trejo?
he's
He was
hilarious.
always the thug that stood out.
Yes,
Hmm.
But I loved it when he got to do Machete. And
yes,
Yes.
we
That was a
finally,
good movie.
finally got to see him do something
yeah.
where it was
Hmm.
great to see him finally. And I heard he's a great guy.
He really is. I got a friend of mine who knows him.
Hmm.
A very dear friend of mine does these a convention called Monster Mania.
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my dear friend of mine does security for that
Hmm.
company,
Hmm.
and knows the owner of the company very well, Danny. But Danny Trejo is one of those guys that, he looks like you're going to rip your head off at any moment, but he's just a fun guy. He says he's a
Hmm.
sweet guy. He's very family oriented. He loves his kids and his grandkids. He did legit time in jail,
Yep.
Yes.
and that's where he found acting.
And now he devotes his life to, is it the charity he does where he helps people who are getting out of prison to get a life or something like that?
Yeah,
Is that
Hmm.
what he does?
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes, well, I thought I heard that right.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sure
Yes.
does.
I like him. Yep.
Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. He's a he's done a lot of stuff. He does a lot of narrations on film as
Hmm.
well, particularly documentaries. But
Hmm.
he's a guy who I don't think we've seen the last of. And
Nope.
I think that his range of acting is yet to be tapped, quite frankly.
I even liked him in Harold and Kumar. It's very, very Harold
Oh,
and Kumar Christmas.
yeah, yeah.
That was funny.
He did a film recently with oh god, what the hell is it? With shit. No,
Sofia Vergara, I know he was in a movie with her.
no, he did a comedy where he played someone's grandfather living in an old, what was it, like that? Oh, Daddy Daycare. It was Daddy
Yes.
Daycare.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was hilarious, and the movie was awful.
Yeah.
And it was a horrible.
You won't get no
film.
argument from me on that.
Yeah.
There were two films, Daddy Daycare and Daddy Daycare 2.
Yeah.
Two. Mm-hmm.
He was in the second Daddy Daycare with oh god, what the hell was his name? Anyways, I didn't forget who the hell it was.
Was it
and
Eddie
what was it?
Murphy, I think?
Oh
one of
no,
them?
it was Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. That's
Kevin
right.
Hart was in it, but that was a horrible. But they were both awful films. They really were. Like, so don't spend your money trying to find these movies that were awful. But Danny Trejo's performance was hilarious. He got to be funny, and he's really funny.
Yes.
Like his character in that film was brilliant. He might have been the only thing in that film that was brilliant because the script sucked. The production was horrible. It looked like somebody shot it in their basement. It was an awful movie, but his performance was great. It was funny. But Python, so what is next? Let's ask you, what's next for Python's Paradise? Where does it go?
Well, I just interviewed Christina Burdett from Everybody Wants Some. Love that film. I've got Deborah Sullivan coming on from Secret Santa. It's a film directed by Adam Marcus. If you haven't seen Secret Santa, it's a Christmas horror comedy.
Yep.
It's hysterical. So
I've seen it.
she's been on a couple times, once with Adam.
Yeah.
So she's coming on. I call her the Cackle Queen. And I know as we spoke, I got a message from Bobby Logan, the director of Meatballs 4, is scheduling with me. And we have, let me see. Let me check here.
Okay. Check it out.
See what my schedule looks like. Melanie Dyer, who Scott the Icon put me in touch with.
Okay, sure.
Yep. Lost and Profound, which is a married couple who are part of a band. They live here. Somebody out of Toronto, they connected me with them
Okay.
to have on my show. And I got Deb Gardner coming on at the end of the month, if my work schedule has it. I know Lisa Langlois going to come on again at some point when, we get her scheduled.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Lisa, and I appreciate her so much. So
beautiful.
Yeah. Beyond that, let me see. I always got people I'm reaching out. Oh yeah, Ken Segoes from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Yeah, he's coming on. I just got to get him scheduled.
We are reaching out to Adrienne King from Friday the 13th. We're hoping to get her.
I've had her on. She was my second guest.
Oh, was she really?
Yep.
Well, if my contact fails, I may be hitting up for her.
Well, here's the problem. I have a hard time getting her. I haven't had her on since 2015. So.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't seem like.
I hope we can get her.
I don't know. I can try for
out
you.
To her people. Yeah, I reached out to her people. I'm hoping we can get her.
Well, I always liked Adrienne King. She had a very girl next door appeal to her.
Very much so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I say reach out to her on Facebook. That's where here's a story about that.
Mm-hmm.
After I interviewed Tommy Wiseau, it could have been one and done. I could have
Yeah.
just gone back to reviewing movies. After all, I interviewed Tommy Wiseau from The Room. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Um,
That's
Two of the
funny.
people I reached out to right afterwards were Adrian King and Lisa Langlois.
Right.
Lisa eventually got in touch with me,
Yeah.
and I arranged things through her manager, and now she and I are good friends.
Terrific.
But I remember it was a long weekend in May.
Yeah.
I was at my brother's place, and he was on his computer, and I was on his wife's computer. And I went on Facebook, and I get a response from Adrian King, and I just kind of leaned back in my chair. She said yes. I
Wow.
couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, because I just reached out on a fluke,
Interesting.
and
Well,
she
I'll
said
tell you
yes.
who we got. I want to publicly thank you for this. We've got Jeffrey Mark appearing with us.
I love
On
Jeffrey.
he is an interesting guy to say the least. We have Jeffrey Mark on April 26th.
He's awesome.
On April 19th, Slasher Scotty McCoy will be joining us.
Love Scotty.
And that's going to be an interesting night here. We're going to have horror film night on What's the Buzz. I've got Scotty McCoy. I've got Mike Messier. I have oh my God, who else do I have? I have one other actor coming on. Horror film actor coming on the 19th.
19th.
Get Scotty to show you his boxers. He's got boxers with his face on them.
That's
Oh
funny.
my gosh.
That's
Scotty's
funny.
a character. I love him, man. He's great.
I know people who personalize their clothes. They have their, you can have it done. You can have like your face put on your underwear
I won't do it, but
and
Scotty's
on
a
your
character.
socks.
Yeah, take it on your socks.
It's crazy. Yeah. My
Yeah.
my sister actually had made for me a pair of socks with my dog's face on it. I have them. They're up in my drawer. But yeah, we have a couple of people from Python's Paradise are going to join us, and thank the Python for that. A reminder: next week, right here on What's the Buzz, Mark Sodkin, the producer and the writer and producer of The Golden Girls, will be with us. Mark was also a writer for Laverne and Shirley and Designing Women, and he has written and produced and directed a number of television and film projects.
I've
He'll be
had
with us.
David L. Lander on my show back in 2017. Of course, he was Squiggy.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that show.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
passed. He's since has passed. That was a shocker. That was a shocker.
The big shocker for me, Dick Miller had passed away 5 months after I had interviewed
Yeah,
him.
and it's funny. I just listened to that interview.
Loved talking to him.
Yeah, and he. It's funny though. It's kind of sad though. He didn't sound like his a gregarious self. Of course, he was up in years, of course, and he wasn't well. He was ill by that point. His wife got him for you.
Yep. She was in The Graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was still a great interview. When you have a chance to have a guy like that, you've got to, just for posterity's sake, for history's sake, you have to archive that, and document that interview. That's what we do. Even on Wrestling with the Future, our flagship show. These wrestlers are dying out at alarming rates. And so Amelia and I, what we do, we feel like we owe it to history to document their interviews before they pass. Look, it was Butch Reed passed away just weeks before we were supposed to have him on the show.
Yeah, and I wanted what was it, Scott Hall, and he passed away before we could even
Yeah, and Scott
ask.
Hall passed away before we could reach out to him. It just goes to
Hmm.
show you never know. But
Hmm.
Well, here's the
so
thing,
yeah.
advice I always give. Do tribute interviews.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely, we do.
I've had
We
Roddy
do.
Piper's son and daughter on,
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock's granddaughter's been on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've had Audrey Hepburn's son on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've had Bela Lugosi Jr. I've had Sarah Karloff. I had somebody that worked really close with Ray Harryhausen on. I do that so that I can make them part of the show.
Yeah.
Zoe
Mhm.
Tamerlis Lund from Miss 45.
Oy.
Yeah.
His
Oy.
her widow was on my show 5 times in tribute to
Yeah.
her.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a huge Bella Lugosi fan anyway. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I prefer Lugosi over Karloff. That's just me.
Sure.
I thought Lugosi was a better actor. I also think that he did more than he should have. His career by the 40s was pretty well over.
Yeah.
You know,
I just wish
it's
we could
sad
have
to
got
think of that.
Judy Garland's daughter on, on the show, but
Which
her
one?
daughter,
She had two.
the one with,
Liza Minnelli and Lorna
yes,
Luft.
Liza Minnelli. I wish we could have got her on the show, but
Yeah, you know what? I met Liza a few times, and that's true.
hmm
Um, I don't know if she is as compelling an interview as her sister is.
hmm
Her sister Lorna Luft is an amazing
mm,
interview.
yeah,
But so here's what we're going to do. I want you go ahead, Python, and plug Python's Paradise. Plug your social media where people can reach you.
Python's Paradise, you can find it on YouTube. And you just go into my playlist and you can see interviews by year. Um, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I only use that to reach out to people, do interviews. So,
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. And
Terrific.
but in terms of you connecting me here, I'm going to connect you with my brother Andrew because he's my manager, and he'll be able to work out the details on that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because I always run the stuff by him, and he always lets me know what he thinks and whatnot. But I'm open
Absolutely.
to it. Yeah.
Well, hang out with me when the show's over. I mean,
Mhm.
we're going to do our little plug here. If you want to promote something, if you got something to promote an event, a happening, whether it's a charitable event, a profitable making event, you got something you want to promote, you want to be on the show, give us a shout out. Hit us up at WrestlingWithTheFuture at gmail.com. Tell us how we can help you out. Tell us what you need from us. Reach out to Amelia or myself, and we will make it happen for you. So we never charge anyone for airtime.
absolutely.
So it's everything here is free. So including our services. So just let us know. Amelia, where can people
Yes.
reach you? How can they get a hold of you?
My email is aachap70@gmail.com. Amelia Valerio Chapman on Facebook, and of course here with you on Tuesday and Thursday, and of course on Instagram it's Wrestling with the Future.
Beautiful.
And
We
if you
have
want
a
a
TikTok.
charity, I'm a big proponent for the Doubtfire Face Challenge for suicide and depression
Oh,
awareness.
absolutely. Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
That's the
The
pie in the face
Doubtfire,
challenge.
yes, the Doubtfire Face Challenge. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a really interesting. It's an interesting organization. The Doubtfire Face Challenge is an even more interesting thing. It's you remember the ice bucket challenge that was all the rage
Yes.
years ago?
Yes.
Well, now we're doing it with pies and ice cream cones and whatever else you can smash into your face.
That
Well,
would be so much fun.
Lisa Langwa did it. Nancy McLaughlin did it in front of props from Jason Lives. James Ellsworth did it. Tori Wilson did it. Teal Piper did it on my birthday. Sandy Johnson from Halloween did it, and her husband was dressed up as Michael Myers, and he put the pie in her face. And
that's funny.
Unfortunately, a film I was involved with weren't behind it, but I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah,
I promised I wouldn't, but
that's quite all right. I got you covered.
But I'll tell you this: so there have been those that have done it, and they got it, and I get tired of people that they say they can't do it because that sounds like I'm making fun of it. No.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have people. I've had people say, "Well, we can do a video talking about it." Who wants to see that bullshit?
Yeah.
Yep.
If Terry Fox, it's time for action.
If Terry Fox talked about cancer, do you think do you think Terry Fox would be talked about today? No.
Right. Exactly.
So do the Doubtfire Pie in the Face challenge.
Absolutely.
Trying to get the industry involved. So want to see Emma Stone do it. There you go.
Yeah,
Love Emma Stone.
There you go. I'll get the wrestling community involved in that stuff. Trust me on that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Tori Wilson was a good taker. James Ellsworth did it. Teal Piper was great. I'm trying to think of. Oh yeah, Lisa Danielle from Bronco Billy, or that's from Spider-Man.
Oh God, yeah.
She did it. She nominated some wrestlers, so there you go.
Well, on that note, for Greg Gilbert, Python's Paradise YouTube channel. Check out Greg Gilbert's YouTube channel for Python's Paradise. Every episode is categorized by year, and you start
on the playlist. Yeah.
On your playlist, and that is starting in what, like 2015?
15,
is that?
Yeah.
It started in 2015 to the present, and there's a veritable who's who of the film and television industry. For myself and Amelia Mad Dog Chapman, Amelia Living La Vida Loca Chapman, Amelia Boom Boom Chapman. We'll come up with another name for you, Amelia. I am Mad Dog DeCipio. Take care, everybody. We love you. We'll see you next time.
God bless.
Bye.